All right, so I think I'm not sure if I'm going to create SSH keys or if they're going to do it for me, but let's cover that. So Mac SSH key, and you could do this on a terminal. So even if you're running Windows, you could get a bash or terminal for Windows. So Windows is like command prompt on the DOS Windows side, and then the Mac Linux Unix is terminal shell. And terminal shell Macs, you could generate an SSH key by just kind of searching like how do I generate an SSH key, and then looking for that at the online, and it's SSH keygen T RSA. So I'm just going to copy that and then go to my terminal, and I'm going to Control C and exit out of this because that is all done and it's been destroyed. I'm just going to close this, terminate, and then launch a new terminal. And if I am in my user directory, right, I have a folder .ssh. And so right there is my SSH folder. And then in my SSH folder, I have private and public keys. So if I do an LSLA, it shows me that here's my public, here's my private, here's my public, here's my private, right? So I don't want to show anybody the one that doesn't have the pub, but the pub one right here, I could give that to any other website. And so the way encryption works, people, there's symmetric and asymmetric encryption. And you could Google that, symmetric encryption. And symmetric encryption is right here. And asymmetric encryption is, where's Wikipedia? Does Wiki have an asymmetric encryption? Public key. So that's the other way it goes by public key, private key, so asymmetric. Symmetric is the same. Asymmetric is not the same. And so with a public-private key, that's asymmetric encryption. So I have a private key. I could give anybody the public key. With that public key, you could encrypt something and send it to me. Only the private key is going to be able to unencrypt that. So anybody in the world can use my public key, encrypt something, and send it to me, and only my private key can unencrypt it. Right? So we have secure communication between myself and anybody else in the world. We have asymmetric keys. Mine is private. Nobody gets to see it but me. Public ones I could give to anybody. You can't unencrypt. If you encrypt with a public key, you can't unencrypt it with a public key. So Jeff, if you encrypt something and Sid intercepts it with my public key and he tries to use my public key to unencrypt it, he can't. Sid can't unencrypt it. Only I can unencrypt it with the private key. That's asymmetric encryption. It's private key, public key. So I give out my public key to people. They encrypt stuff and send it to me. What do they send to me? They encrypt to me another key. This key is going to be symmetric, right? They're going to send me a key. I unencrypt it. I get this symmetric key. Now I have a key that can encrypt and decrypt. You have a key that can encrypt and decrypt, and nobody else in the world has these keys. So I could encrypt something, send it to you, you can unencrypt it. You can encrypt something, send it to me, I can unencrypt it. That can happen with symmetric keys. We can encrypt and decrypt the message. With public-private asymmetric keys, public only encrypts, private only decrypts, unencrypts. Does that make sense? How that works? So I'm going to generate a new key and enter the file in which to save the key, and it's suggesting this name. I'm going to do test class. I'll do CAS. Why not? And if I want extra security, I could put a passphrase. I'm going to leave it blank. And now it's generated them. So if I look at that, I have test CAS and then pub. So I could cat test cas.pub, and now I could copy this, all of this. I could copy all of that. And I'm probably going to need to drop that into my keys at DigitalOcean. I'm just guessing. So I come to DigitalOcean and I go to security and I add an SSH key and I put the content in there and name. It's Todd's Mac. And now I have that key there. So now I'll be able to connect my computer with DigitalOcean. I'll tell DigitalOcean, use this key. They will encrypt a symmetric key, send it to me, I'll unencrypt it, and then we'll use that symmetric key for communicating securely.